There I am. Good. It's Bradley J. How do you do? I never know how I am until I see myself on the screen, and I guess I'm pretty good today. Today I'm going to talk to you. This is the Bradley J. Show, by the way, inaugural show of the regular Bradley J. Show. It's going to run at this time. I am planning to run it 5 days a week, 10 o'clock in the morning, so you can count on it pretty much, unless something goes wrong. Sometimes Molly the dog will be joining me as my co-host, and that's cool. Today, let me tell you who's coming up in the future. We have Melissa Max on coming up soon to talk about Mental Health Week. She's a person who has reinvented herself. She was a broadcaster for a long time and maybe soon again, but she's oh so much more. And we're going to hear from her. We're also going to hear from Doug Arian, the physicist, who's going to tell us about the updates in the Webb telescope and how the asteroid, the results of hitting the asteroid with a refrigerator, see how that worked out. We're going to hear from a bunch of folks, but that's 10 o'clock on weekdays. Today, I'm going to tell you about the trip to Portugal. I am creating a video, but the thing's 45 minutes long, and it's going to take a long time. There are lots of interviews during it, people I ran into, a cool bartender named Jose, not Jose, Jose, in a town called Aveiro, a real feisty woman who was my kind of the management person who let me into my Airbnb. She talked to her a couple of times. A cool guy at a restaurant, and a really wild place where you get a bacalhau and port wine, and some guy plays the organ. It was weird. Is it the best destination, favorite destination? No. Is it a pretty good one? Yeah. Also, I need to make an announcement. I'm going to trim my beard like every day. I figure that I owe that to you. I owe it to myself to be well groomed at all times. And I'm excited about that. Isn't that strange how things change? I'm in a super good mood. I love the weather. I'm happy to be home from the trip, but that's part of the trip is getting home. We'll get to that. Let's see. Sharon says, beautiful country, great food, great white port. Thing about port is they put booze in it. What do they put in it? Brandy of some kind? It is enhanced. It gives me a headache. I'm not a giant port fan, but they had so much good other red wine. That was what I dug. Now, when it comes to travel, let me just make sure. I'm sure that can't be that important. My phone was ringing. The heck with that. You're more important. So every time I go on a trip, I come home and tell Shannon, my significant other, that's the last trip. I'm not ever going anywhere ever again because I'm so happy to be home. That coming home is way better than leaving. I love coming home so much. Everything that seemed kind of mundane prior to leaving is special. I'm just thrilled to do the everyday things. Cook an egg. Oh my God, I love this, cooking an egg. I love this broadcasting stuff. I love walking in Boston. Let me tell you, one of the great reasons to go on a trip is to re-realize how great Boston is. Boston is great. Yeah, there are problems with the tea, etc. Overall, it's a killer, beautiful, fantastic city. Better than Porto? Oh, yeah, absolutely. It really is. If you lived in Porto and came to Boston, you'd think, oh, my God. What's this? Phil says, I still say that if you wrote a travel book, it would sell 1 million copies. Maybe, Phil. Anyway, I'm doing a video, and I'm going to tell you, Phil, and anybody else that wants to listen to the story right now. Rudolph says you should do another cross-country train trip. Train trip. I don't know, man. I've done them all. I've done all the long-haul trips. I've done Chicago to Seattle, Chicago to San Francisco, Chicago to Los Angeles, New Orleans to Los Angeles, New Orleans to Memphis, Seattle to Los Angeles twice. I'll tell you about him sometime, but I don't know if I have it in me to do it again. Peter, hello. Billy Fig, hello. Hey, Brad from Cambridge, missed you behind the mic. Well, here I am. Here's the mic, and I am behind it. I'm extremely excited about the daily, the commitment to the daily show, the Daily Bradley J. Show. It will stream live to Facebook and YouTube and LinkedIn, and then I'll share it to the others, Instagram, and I will probably put the audio part of it up on the Bradcast audio podcast. It's a lot of work, but whatever. I have the time. So here we go. It had been a long time since it gone anywhere, and due to COVID, it just didn't seem fun anymore. Just the danger of your your flight being canceled, wearing a mask, and before, when you had to have testing before you went, a certain amount of hours before you went, and you had to have your card, it became too much of a pain in the neck. Now that those are gone, everybody and their brother and sister are traveling, and that's kind of a bummer. So I knew during the summer there would be huge crowds. It would be really expensive. The risk of flight cancellation and hassles too high. Now that there are issues with airline staffing, there are fewer flights, worse connections. It sucks more, the flying part. I got to admit. On the other hand, I did not want to be lazy. I didn't want to get to the end of my life and just say, hey, I was kind of lazy not going, especially now that there's a break during COVID. So I said, let's go somewhere. There are not that many places left I want to go, really. Maybe Palermo, Sicily, but maybe not. The Middle East, Dubai, maybe. I don't know. But, it's tough for me to find places I want to go. But Porto is one of the places. So, all right. Got a plane ticket pretty cheap, I will say. You can buy a cheap plane ticket if you want to be herded in like a steer in a truck to the fair. If you want to be in a little seat, unhealthy seat, packed in an inhumane way, you can get a pretty cheap flight. I had long layovers, kind of long, like 3 hour, average of 3 hours. One was like 2.5, and one was 3.5. It is what it is. I flew to Frankfurt and then back, which seems counterproductive, flying all the way to Frankfurt and then back to Porto, whatever. And so I'm going to give you the whole lowdown right now. I'll try to be brief and succinct, but the flight over was good. Not delayed, left on time, landed in Frankfurt, and had a beer, which is cool. You don't have to go to a bar in the Frankfurt airport. You can, here at Hudson News where you buy sodas and stuff, well, there they have the equivalent, only you can buy a beer, which is about the same price as water. Good beer, too. And you can take it with you to your gate. I asked, can I leave this area with the beer? Yeah, absolutely. So the second flight was delayed an hour, and that's grisly, man. Because the airport's hot, and here's a big thing. You may not realize it, but you have grown accustomed to a certain amount of antisepticness due to the pandemic. Like, you go out, you go to the market and stuff. I get that. You go to a restaurant, yeah. But when you go to the airport, whump, it hits you. This is a germy-ass place. Packed. People face to face in the security line. Let me shut that up. Let me shut that off there. Okay. So, packed, faced, cheek by jowl, as our parents would say up in New Hampshire. That's like mashed in. You're breathing germs. Nobody's got a mask. Very few people have a mask on. It's a shocker. Say, if I'm going to get COVID, I'm going to get it right now. I don't worry about the plane so much because of the nice circulation they have. The plane ride was fine. No big bumps. I love the plane food. Maybe it's because it's free. They used to ask, do you want meat or veg? Not now. Not on this airline. Just here's your Italian-y kind of little thing. Here's your little cake. Here's your little biscuit. Here's your little butter. And I didn't eat I was good. I threw away the dessert and the butter, but I did ask for extra wine. Got 2 wines. They're happy to give away the wine for some reason. So, arrived really late, like 4:30. That's pretty late. And I didn't book any B&Bs until the day before. Who knows? Maybe my flight would get canceled. It actually did get canceled once, and they gave me a different flight, a later flight, an earlier flight back. So I lost part of my trip because of airline shenanigans. And got to the airport. Very nice little airport. Liked it. Could have taken an Uber to the Airbnb, but I didn't. I took the train because the train was right there. It was $4. And why take the Uber? What's my hurry? I like the sense of getting. I wanted to figure out how to buy the ticket and all. So I went to the train station. Somebody's buying a ticket. I say, can you show me how to buy a ticket? That's what you do. If they don't speak English, go to the next person. You can mess around on that thing and try to figure it out, or you can just ask somebody. I'm a big asker. Got a ticket? Make sure you validate it first. When you get a ticket there, you got to validate it. We don't do that in Boston. Got to the Airbnb. Very nice. Never saw the Airbnb person. Code. You get an email with a code to the outside, a code to the inside. Beautiful little place. Pristine. It's a studio. There's a lot of studios over there, and I think they're specially made for Airbnb. The hallway off to the right, you have a kitchen right away, and it's extremely efficient. You open the little door underneath, and the wastebasket comes out. Over here's the stove. Everything is super efficient and spanking new. They had TV, nice bathroom, and it was very good. Bad news was it was far away from the center of things. It was like a half an hour walk. So I was too tired, too burned out from the whole thing. And I just asked, you can communicate with your Airbnb person. I asked, do you recommend a restaurant? They recommended one. It was spectacular. So nice. So I'm going to shut this actual phone right off because it's beeping and all. Or I'll hide it under Molly's blanket. The restaurant in an ancient building. Everything's cheap. How much is the wine? They have beautiful wine. How much for a nice big glass of wine? In the United States, this wine would be $15. This was $3.50 and €3.50, and euro and dollar are at parity now. Here's a question: what airline do I fly? I flew Lufthansa. I'm not recommending them or dissing them. I have no recommendation either way, yes or no, on that airline. It's just another airline. Tim Murphy says you must validate it now on the Green Line extension. Really? They have little validation things. You buy a ticket, you got to go boop like that. Okay, good. Tim is an inspector for the T. Doug says you've inspired me to book that trip to the Azores. Oh man, that's pretty good. So continuing, I'm giving you the whole thing right now. There is a video of it, though. There will be a video that will show all this. I had maybe the best thing I ever ate at this restaurant in kind of a outskirts of Porto. It was monkfish and prawns, which are shrimp, I guess, in some sort of risotto or rice, thick tomato sort of thing. I can't really describe it. It doesn't look good in the photo. It's so good. I just couldn't. It was very big, and I thought I could not eat all that, but I just kept taking a little bite and a sip of wine, little bite, sip of wine. Yeah, can I get more wine, please? $3.50, right? It was great. So it made me feel great. That was a high point. I met some people, talked to them. That's also a high point. Went back to the room, the studio apartment, and so I made it all the way to like midnight, which means I got up at, I got up at 10 o'clock on Friday. Then my flight was at 10 at night. That's 12 hours. Then all night, and then all day. So I don't know how many hours that is, like 36 minus 5 or something like that. But it was good. Got up the next day, checked everything, said goodbye to that Airbnb. I wanted to stay there again. They said no, it's not available, and really that was a good thing. I walked to the Ribeira. I believe that's how you say it, which is the riverfront, which is where all the tourists goes. Hated it. Hated it. I thought, what have I done? Why did I come here? This sucks. I'm out of here. I was there 5 minutes. Tour buses stenching up the place. Tour bikes, tour this, tour that. People with little, the little follow me signs. This is not what I came here for. I had done some research on a town called Aveiro, Aveiro. And I said, I'm going there because this Porto thing is no good. I hated it at that point. I asked some dude, where is the train station? So you just go up that hill. Can't miss it. I did. I looked up at the sign. Wow, train to Aveiro leaves in 20 minutes. Good luck for me. Once again, I asked somebody how to get a ticket. I did. He reminded me to validate the ticket, get on the train. 80-minute ride, get off in this beautiful, beautiful little town. Clean air, just very oceanic. Canals, tidal canals, no real crowds, cobblestone streets, warrens of cobblestone streets, nice restaurants, not crowded, just fantastic. Oh, my travel heart is pounding again. I'm loving it. I went from hating Porto to liking this place. Went into a bar. I'll show you the video. Talked to the bartender. It was so cool. There were only 4 tables in this bar restaurant and a few outside. It was more of a bar than a restaurant. Went in, talked to the dude, and I had decided we're going to be really outgoing and videotape a lot of interviews. He was an interesting dude. I said, okay, dude, you want to be in my video? Somehow, if you're a travel blogger, you get all kinds of cred now. Oh, yeah, I'll be in it. I hooked up I gave him the wireless mic so he could be anywhere. I had my gimbal. I had my wireless mic. And talk to him. You'll see the video. He's super, super friendly. I did learn one thing from him. If you ever go to Portugal, if you're in the south, order Sagres, Sagres beer. That's the southern beer. And if you're in the north, order Superbock. If you order Sagres in the north, you'll get yelled at. You'll get the shady eye. It represents the south. The south is the enemy, in a way. It's the competition. They make their southern beer down south, Superbock up north, order Superbock. Superbock was super good. Also, the wine was good. Check this out. I was looking for, Peter Gates says, how's the exchange rate? Parity, man. 1-to-1, basically. You only get whacked on whatever percentage your bank takes. Like my bank took, well, if you just put your card in the ATM, I think in my case, my bank would have taken 3%. If you use a credit card, 3% on purchases you have to pay, unless you get a travel credit card, which waives that, which I have. And so the exchange rate was even. It's the VIG that gets you. How many pounds did I put on? I don't think any, because I was real good. I'll explain later, Joe. And Peter Hutchinson, most things were a good price. Service was great. While we're here, since we're talking about the bartender, the tipping model sucks. There's no tipping there, and it's beautiful. If you get service, it's because the person, it's not so transactional. It's because they want to give you service, or they want to keep their job, or they like their job. It's not, I'm going to be nice to you so you'll pay me money. And the price is the price. No tip. It takes some getting used to, trust me. But you'll find that, after a while, you go back a few times and they're still friendly to you. After you left no tip, you get it. Don't worry, this won't go on forever. The thing about the sardines, I'd wanted grilled sardines. I like grilled sardines. So I ordered sardines from Jose from the bar, thinking I would get grilled sardines for €5. No. Shocker. He comes out with a little board of olives, like ripe olives, little toast things, and a can of sardines. So here, a can of sardines is looked down on and poo-pooed. But there, cans of sardines tinned sardines are a thing. At the airport, duty-free. There's rows and stacks of different kinds of canned fish. It's a thing, and all right. And I think the guy expected me to be freaked out, but I eat a lot of canned sardines at home, so I had my really nice wine, olives, little toasty, crusty things, and a can of sardines, and I'm chowing them down like a pro. So I left that guy, asked him, hey, can you recommend any fish restaurants? He goes, yeah, he did. And I went right there, directly there. I was just about to close. I got codfish there. I'm a big fish person. Codfish on a bed of spinach with boiled potatoes. And I met another guy there who was a patron sitting behind me, but you could tell he was cool. So I interviewed him. He will be in the interview. I booked that night's Airbnb on the train on the way there. And again, spectacular. Same basic layout, same basic kitchen, but really nice. There's no feeling of, oh, it's dirty or grubby. Just real nice. It was only a 5-minute walk from the restaurant, very small town. It was also all codes. You just punch in the code. And I always take big bottle of water, 4 beers, just in case, some yogurts and bread. I didn't eat them all, and then I like to watch TV. I watched the asteroid get smashed into. Got up in the morning and left and headed back to Porto because the guy at the restaurant, who was the patron that I talked to, who was cool, was loving Porto. And I asked him in the interview, you'll see it. So what did I miss about Porto? It seemed very touristy to me. Why do you like it? And he was all, well, you got to get lost in the back streets. Good point. So I went back and gave it a fresh try. Got back on, back. And while on the train, got another Airbnb there. This time I got it for 2 nights. Each Airbnb was about $100. Now here's a good thing. $12 cleaning fee or something like that. I think maybe $89 with a $12 cleaning fee, $100, $12 cleaning fee. Not like the United States, with a stupid, insulting, misleading. I find them the huge fees misleading, mildly misleading. There, not so much. It seems like a reasonable cleaning fee. I didn't mind paying it at all. I do not do Airbnb in the United States because of the cleaning fee. I extend my middle finger to to the cleaning fee here in the States. I'll do hotels in the States, Airbnb over there. It's just a different situation. Oh, we got a lot of comments here. Phil said, have you thought of how monetizing the broadcast? Yes. I have thought about monetizing this broadcast. This broadcast will have sponsors, be it the tourist bureaus or local businesses, and that's going to start right away. But that's a good thing, the tourist bureaus of the various countries you visit. I don't know how many more countries. Yes, when I do visit, but I'm going to be doing so many broadcasts that they're not going to be all about travel. And so I will try your idea, but I'm going to have to do more than that as well. Superbach was crystal beer before. Oh, cool. And Lou, with his always poignant points, welcome back to the bleep bleep, the side of the pond. I will tell you that it is a bleep bleep everywhere. We just don't know what's going on. You go over there, it's a bleep bleep everywhere. We used to be it did not used to be such a bleep bleep for us here. And now we're a lot like the other countries. As soon as the peaceful transfer of power and the faith in elections is gone, we're like all the other countries, or we're worse than many of them. And that is too bad. It's already happened. It's too late. It is what it is. We're not that country we used to be. And let me continue here. So, came back to the train station, did a huge video on the beauty of the Porto, Portugal train station called Sao Bento. Spectacular. And you'll see that video footage. Then I went to meet Anna outside my Airbnb, and that's funny. Turns out my Airbnb was on the very same street that I had walked to get to the train, like the Newbury Street of there. And it was still only, including the cleaning fee, $112 a night. Right? That is good. So this whole trip was super cheap. Really cheap. Cheap airfare, cheap lodging, and I probably only spent on all food and stuff. It couldn't have been $200. It might have been $150. It was difficult to spend money there. A glass of wine, $3.50. Yeah, another one, $3.50. Oh, some food, $10. So that's $16, right? Okay, so this Airbnb was brand new. It had never been used. I was the first person to ever use it. It was so new, I had to program the television. It had no channels. Luckily, I'd seen Shannon do it here a couple times, and I programmed in the channels. It had beautiful layout, everything you need, and even a little patio. It was quiet, brand new, $112 including everything. What phone data service did I use? I did get my particular calling company's international plan. We'll see if it worked. I called again to make sure that I had it. It better have worked. I got confirmation. I made him send me email confirmation because I had one before and it did not work. Really important to have a calling plan. You can do two things. Well, you can do three. One of them don't do, and that is make sure you have some plan. One option is to have no plan, no nothing. Don't do that. You can either swap out your SIM card or get a calling plan. Swapping out the SIM card, kind of a pain because you get a different number, and who knows what kind of terrible corruption that will cause within your system. There's too many variables. Who knows what will go wrong with that? Plus, it does cost some money. The plan I got was unlimited talking, texting, data. I called them up to make sure. Can I stream unlimited on here? Can I stream to Facebook? Can I do this? Can I download as many videos? Yes. We'll see. I took the chance we'll see how it goes. So anyway, checking into I walk down the fancy street. There are a bunch of street musicians. A note on street musicians. What gives people the idea that other people want to hear music in the street? As a DJ, I know it's hard to please somebody. And like, how does anyone know that I want to hear Van Halen covers on a violin or Kate Bush on an accordion? You know, the chances that my musical tastes get matched up to what they're doing, pretty slim. And it's irritating if I'm trying to shoot video because a lot of that music is copyrighted music. I don't want it in the background. Back to checking into this Airbnb. Anna. Weird. I get outside the Airbnb on Rua des Flores, main drag. I'm right outside. I call the number they give me to call, which is another reason. You got to have a calling plan because you get so much information, like your check-in numbers, all kinds of stuff on the phone. You need to be connected now. I call the number they give me. Easy. Just hit the link. Ringy, ringy, ringy. I say, hi, this is Bradley. I'm outside the building. And I hear, oh, this is Anna. I am too. She was like 2 feet away from me. Fewer than 3 feet away. Very outgoing, gregarious, young person. Showed me everything. And even arranged for a car to the airport after. So what I did the rest of that day was walk, do videos, and I went into another bar, and had a guy make me a thing called a Francesina, which is one of those, every city has these things you're supposed to eat. I can't say they're good. They're sure as heck not good for you. Some of you know a Francesina, piece of bread, toasted or not, with like chicken, sausage, all kinds of stuff. And then another piece of bread, and then cheese, and then and an egg, and some sauce all over it. It is the kitchen sink kind of thing. And really, it's what happened is they took a coq monsieur, the French thing, took it over to Portugal and just stuffed it full of crap. Was it good? Yeah, no, not really. I mean, a fried bologna sandwich would be just as good. But I did it. I had it. I had a chance to have absinthe. I declined. But there was a really interesting bartender who used to be in theater, and so he did a good job. You'll see that in the video. Got lost in a good way, but ended up walking forever. Tired, dark, Portugal, fine. Made it back to the Airbnb finally. Crashed. Got up the next morning. Now they have a famous bridge. You go across the Douro River to the Gaia, which is the other side. I have to tell you, the other side is kind of better. Like the part of Porto that I did not like, the riverfront, super touristy and nasty, tour buses and all. The other side, no such thing. Beautiful, breezy, not smelly from car exhaust. This is where all the port houses have their warehouses and also tasting places. And the restaurants are real nice outdoor restaurants, super prices, nice seafood. So you see the river, you see Porto, you see these kind of old school boats that have probably there for tourists in the water. Very nice. And I gotta learn to not say I did a little broadcast from my table there using the wireless mics and the gimbal recommended by Boston Bob, which actually has facial recognition, so you can set your camera up on a tripod with this gimbal. You can move around, and the camera follows your face. It's like a film crew, man. Went back to the Airbnb. So that night I had to, due to the airline changing my flight from a nice 1 o'clock flight that day to a 6 a.m. flight. I had to get to the airport at like 4, so I had to get up at 3, get the Uber, get up at 2, get the Uber at 3, get to the airport at 4, just to be sure. Now, I am a person who believes in backup, so when I was in Aveiro, I bought I bought 2 wind-up alarm clocks because I didn't trust my phone. Because sometimes the phone doesn't wake me up. I bought one and thought, what's that one with the big bells on it? Give me that one. I'll show it to you sometime. One of those wind-up ones with a clanger. Got that. I'll get them all wound up, ready to go, because I was going to have to get up at 2 a.m., which is a bummer, which robs me of a significant part of a very short trip, thanks to the airlines canceling my flight, the one I wanted. So I went to bed at 7. You think you could go to bed at 7? Well, I was pretty tired, and I actually went to bed at sleep at like 7:15. Woke up at 11:30. Now you might think that's bad, but I felt pretty good. I thought, at least I'm up. I didn't have to use my alarms, but I had them. So here we come into the finale here. The Airbnb lady, who was very nice, Anna, who you'll meet in the video, had arranged a ride from a driver for 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock, I get everything closed up, packed up, double check all the sockets, electric sockets, to make sure I didn't leave any electrical equipment plugged in. I'm all tick-tock, double locked, ready to go. Make sure I don't leave the keys on me. Make sure I do leave the keys there. Once you close that door, that's it. That's why actually keypads are much better. If I'd forgotten something or needed to get back in for any reason, I couldn't. Keys in, door locked. Okay, that's it. Went out to the back alley because the front was a shopping district. You can't drive on it, waiting for my driver. 3 o'clock arrives, no driver. 3:05, 3:10, oh, no driver. So I did happen to have the number of the guy who was the head of the management company for the Airbnb. I had gotten it from Anna, thankfully. I called the dude because she said he was going to call me at 2. He didn't. He forgot. He called me at 2:45. So I did have his number. Called him up. Yeah, the driver's not here. He said, oh, I'll call him up. So the driver had set his alarm for 2:30 p.m. instead of a.m. So that's why I leave enough time. If I'd needed to, I could have walked to the train station and gotten a cab. But if I'd cut it too close, you can't. He shows up. Oh, by the way, before he shows up, this is a back alley. No one there. It looks like crime waiting to happen. And I hear people stumbling around, drunken. You don't know who it's going to be. Is it going to be some harmless tourist? Or is it going to be somebody that sees me as a rich tourist and wants to roll me? You got to be kind of thinking about that. So I made myself small. Finally, the driver calls. I'll be there in 10 minutes. Oh, okay, fine. Got to the airport, feeling grand for some reason. But I don't know why I felt so good. The airport was pretty empty in the beginning. That was helpful. I knew that my plane was already there. I saw my gate. I saw the plane at the gate. I knew the plane would probably leave on time, which would mean I'd get my connection back home. I did. Flights were fine. And once again, the very, 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 very best part of the trip is getting home. From the moment the plane takes off, you know you're probably going to make it. When you hear the attitude of the plane changes for initial descent, you can feel them back off the throttle a little bit. The attitude changes a little bit. You think, oh, we're going home, baby. And then final descent, final approach. This was a 747-400, big old plane. You see, you see the Boston Islands and stuff. It's always interesting because you think you're about to land, but you don't see any runway at all. You just see water. And you think, really? There really is a runway here. I know it. And happily, boom, get to the gate, no problem. We're out about 45 minutes late. Whatever. And, it's so wonderful to be back in Boston. Every time I come back to Boston, while all the rest of the chumps are finding their checked luggage on the carousel, I'm just bouncing out of there. All I have is my backpack. When I go through customs, they go, all you do is say, "Where'd you go?" I almost forgot. I'm like, because I was tired. If you hesitate at all, they get hinky. It's like Porto, Portugal. Did you bring any food or plants? Nope. All right, you're good to go. Boom, 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 boom. Out, down, past the carousels where suckers are getting their checked luggage. Then there's the exit doors. They're closed. You know how it is. You come out, poof, and there you are in Boston. And I'm always like, go to the T. The bus, I think it was the 33, was waiting right there. This is always just wonderful. And then you say what you will about the T, but I love it. I brought my Charlie card with me. Boop. Opens up. Get on the blue line. Get home. And every little thing that I used to take for granted, I'm appreciating. The TV. Oh, my TV is awesome. My bed is awesome. The shower is awesome. It's wonderful to see Molly. Wonderful to see Shannon. And that doesn't go away. For days now, I'm ecstatically happy to be home. That is the true value of going on a trip. And again, if I could just pay a few $100 to get that feeling for a few days, I almost think I would. And I will tell you this, that even now, as after COVID is gone, mostly, I don't feel like it's the same. It might be me, it might be the airlines. It might be a lack of staffing. I don't know. It just seems, I use the word hinky, it just doesn't quite seem right on the airlines as far as feeling like your plane's really going to leave on time or at all, which adds a little bit of uncertainty. I got to tell you, this summer, I did some stuff with Shannon, went to a cabin in the woods, went to the beach in Maine, went to a hill in Vermont. Actually, those things, memory-wise, are just as good. You can take it from somebody who really knows that after you do some traveling, the local trips will be just as good. They're so relaxing, the local trips. You don't have to deal with the airlines. Don't need a passport. No passport to lose. Flight can't get canceled. The only bad thing is that the prices of places have skyrocketed so disgustingly. That's a problem. Do you remember, you used to be able to get a place for $150, right? Now that's $350. That sucks. And that brings me to my final point. Don't pay that. Just don't. Wait. Put it off till the price comes down. Find a deal. But please don't be so desperate to get away that you pay $350 for some routine hotel room somewhere just so you can get away because you've been involved with COVID. Instead, go to a nice restaurant. Spend $100 on a nice meal. It's too early, really too early to travel and have it feel the same. Too expensive and domestically, too uncertain in foreign travel. Unless you don't really have to be back on time, or unless you don't mind if your flight gets changed or canceled. Well, that's a different thing. So there you go. That's the story. All that you have heard me say will be in the upcoming video, entitled, aptly enough, Porto, Portugal. You'll meet the people I talked about in the video. You'll see the Airbnbs that I spoke of. You'll see the bridge. You'll see the port places. You'll see the food. And there you go. Tomorrow's broadcast starts at 10. And let me see who's let me see your schedule. Let me get the schedule here. Let me look at my cal. I'm booking fastly and furiously here. Okay, calendar. Okay. On Wednesday is Melissa, DJ Melissa, who used to work for Charles at WBCN, went on to KLOS and other radio stations, and went through some really hard times, and is now she's a mindfulness coach, and we'll be talking about Mental Health Week, and what she went through, and how she helped herself, and how people like her can help you. And also, Michael Coyne joins us on Thursday. That's pretty cool, right? Let me see. Maybe I can get you a couple others here. On Friday, Bill Brigoli is a guy who worked for Westwood One and CBS Radio, interviewing lots and lots and lots of famous people. He's got stories. And tomorrow, we're joined by 3 musicians, a dude from the Stompers, John Butcher Axis, and another dude, I think, John Butcher of John Butcher Axis. Because they got together, Alan Estes, they got together, and they've got a really good record out, and they're going to have a record release party coming up, and we're going to talk about that tomorrow. So the rest of the week is booked, and then on, I haven't booked it yet, but next week will be Doug Arian talking about an update on the Webb telescope and the upshot of the asteroid shot. We hit it with a refrigerator to try to knock it off course. And it's interesting. The thing is as big as the pyramid, the Great Pyramid, and you hit it just a little bit, like, to knock it off course. Would that knock it off course? Would that knock something that large off course enough to miss the Earth if it were heading for Earth? We'll find out how it went. And of course, if you can hit it, you can blow it up, but then you risk getting hit by the pieces. But that's an option. I mean, you could hit, it's proof now you could hit one of those things with a nuke. Wouldn't that be something to see? All right, I'll talk to you tomorrow at 10 on The Bradley J. Show. Ta-ta for now, and thanks for all your comments and stuff. Bye-bye.